Hi everybody, welcome back to Learning to Play Mandolin with Chris. Let's see, let's start off by tuning our mandolins. Let's see, it looks like I'm sharp, so I'm going to turn everything down a bit. Because I want to get to the note by tensioning, not loosening. Alright, and I always like to use some of this gorilla snot to keep my pick from slipping around, so I can put a little bit of that on my fingers. And I'm ready to go. So let's start off by reviewing the pattern and what we need to do to kind of figure it out. Okay, so yes, last time we talked about the G scale because that's the first note on the fourth string, the G, open. And here's the pattern. Here's the full pattern on the G scale. You can see that it starts, where it's green, it starts with the root note and it ends with the root note. And so I divided it into blocks. So there's 8 notes in a block, starting and ending with a root note. And here's another block in the center. Here's another block on the bottom. So what that looks like is open on the fourth string, 2, 4, 5, open on the third string, 2, 4, 5, open 2, 4, 5, open 2, 4, 5. And then if you play it in the closed position here at the 5th fret, root, 2, 4, 5, second string below, the next string below, 2, 4, 5. And one more block. Okay. We can also play linearly up from open G to G at the 12th position. Okay. And just to show you how it moves, I've done the D scale right below it. So all we're doing is shifting this down one set of set to the next string down. So where this starts on a root note for a G, now it starts on a root note for a D. And so we have to fill in that top note with the appropriate notes to make the pattern. And so what we do is we just use our knowledge of how the scale moves, that what I told you last week, root 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1 is the pattern. So we know that the 7th fret has a D because the 7th fret is the same as the next string down, 7 frets back. So if we know that's a D, following the pattern, we know that there is a note right behind the root note because that's the way the pattern is. There's always a note behind the root note. And then 2, 2, 2. So this is basically the second half of a D block right there. And then starting here, here's another D block right here. So that would be starting on the 7th fret, 7, 9, 11, 12. The next string down, 7, 9, 11, 12. And there's another pattern where that ends. And there's an open. Started there on the 5th fret, another block. So that's all we're doing. We're shifting the pattern so that our reference is always the key that we're playing in. And above here, this is what happens if we play in the A scale. So I moved this whole image back because you can see that these are the same lines right here. The A starts on the 2nd fret. So instead of playing open G, we're playing an A, 4, 2. So 2, 4, 6, 7. And on the next string down, 2, 4, 6, 7. And we can find another block. And we can find another block. Okay, so it doesn't look exactly the same because of the different mandolin, the different fret spacings, but you can see that it's the same pattern. It just gets a little bit scrunched up as it goes up to those high frets. So it's the exact same pattern. You're just moving it as based on the key that you're playing in. So the trick is to memorize the pattern, not necessarily the scale. Okay. Now this is a block, what I call the block. This is the main scale pattern, the 8 notes. Now, so on the G it would be starting with the open G, and the next block down on the next set of strings is always 2 frets back. So if this is a G, we know that the same note is 2 frets back and 2 frets down and 2 strings down. So the block down here is always going to be 2 frets behind this top block. And the same it's conversely, it's the same. If we have a block here, then we know the top block is 2 frets ahead and 2 strings up. Okay? So, and also, just keep on thinking of these as blocks, because sometimes we have partial blocks. Here's the G again. Here's that full block, and here's that middle block, and here's the top block on high strings on the bottom. And then like here on the 4th string is the bottom half of a block. And if we had more strings, we would see the top half. So you just have to envision that those are just parts of blocks. You know, like here would be a block on G, but we don't have those last 2 notes. So in order to grab those last 2 notes, we need to play this one. And this one, yeah. So when we play that bottom block, well, let's start on the top block. It's open 2 4 5, open 2 4 5. Okay, and then See, I could play it also in a closed position. I could play these two notes on the 5th fret. I mean on the 7th fret. It would be the same as those two notes down there. Yeah. Yeah, that I might have confused that a little bit, but I think you understand what I'm saying. This is how to find the blocks, and it's a simple pattern. It's going to take a while before you are really good at moving through it, because you not only want to move just straight, but you want to be able to move any direction. So if you're playing a G up here, then you and just moving, make yourself move around. Don't just do it linear. Don't just do it in the same order, same direction all the time. You have to learn to do it all different ways until you just know that pattern by heart. Okay, now this is an exercise that you can do to help you move in a different order instead of just progressing through block, block, block. This is what's called positions. Okay. They're like hand positions. So on the first block, as I said, we don't need to cover that first string, and my hand is usually the first finger on the 2nd fret. Okay, if I move that up 2 frets, where my hand is on the next note of the G, right there, so okay, I'm just still going through the scale, but I've moved my hand up 2 frets, and that gives you a different way to move it. That keeps you from getting into the habit of just doing it one way, because you want to be able to play the scales no matter. You want to be able to keep in key no matter where your hand is at any given time. You want to just always be able to have the scale notes under your fingers. Okay, so that was the 2nd position. If I move up to the 4th fret, so there's this one's a little bit. You see that they don't fit exactly into your hand on some of them. Like this is a real wide hand position. I don't use that one a lot. If I go to this 4th hand position, I'm starting on the 7th fret. Let's see. So I said. So that's 7th position. And if I started on the 9th fret, yeah, I'm messing up there, but what did I say? The 9 positions. Well, yeah, I didn't do that very well, but I think you got the idea. Somehow, it's hard when you don't start off on the root note to get lost on in a different key, and that's what I'm doing. Somehow I'm mixing 2 keys, but. So if I started with the G. Anyway, so that's one thing you can do, and I'm not sure. Yeah, the object is to just try to move your hand and still be able to go through the scale. Okay. So hopefully you kind of understand what I'm trying to say there. Also last week we talked about chord shapes, and I kind of got a little bit wonky on. I might have, or maybe I didn't talk about it too much, but anyway. These are the 2 most common chord shapes, the A shape and the G shape. Okay, we know the G shape is that chop chord. Okay, that's this one right here. 4, 5 on the first string, 4 on the second, 7 on the third, and 9 on the fourth. Well, no, I'm sorry. It's a G shape that I'm playing. It's actually showing an A there. So these are both A's, but this is just the G shape of the A chord, and this is the A shape of the A chord. And I showed it as the A chord so that we could see that these 2 notes are in common. You see, so the A shape like that, the G shape. Like that. So, then we can move those chords. So, most of the songs that you find in bluegrass and country and lots of folk and simpler songs tend to be 1, 4, and 5. So 1 is the root. 4 is the 4th note in the tone. So if we're playing a G, G, A, B, C is the 4th tone, and D is the fifth tone. So a typical song will be in G, C, and D, and then they'll change the, how many, it'll change, maybe it'll go to the D first, maybe it'll go to the C first, or, and change measures or whatever. There's be some variation about how they do it, but it'll be those basic chords, and then they might add in some other chords, but these will get us started. Okay, so here's the 1, 4, 5 and all the different keys, and if we're playing a G, which is 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 5, 4, 7. If we move that up one set of strings where we're no longer needing our pinky because we don't have a string up there, so we just take that G and we move it up a set of strings, then we're playing a C now, okay? So we know the C is the 4 chord, okay? So anytime we have a chord, like say we're playing an A here, two frets forward, and we move that up to the 2 strings, we're playing the 4 chord in a C, in the key of C, which is a D. Okay. Wait, let me see if that's correct. C. What did I say? Yeah. If we move it up. Let's take, I moved it up here, that's the A chord, so A, D is the 4th, okay? So if we just move up a set of strings, it's the 4 chord, okay? Now, let's say we're playing a D here. It's a D because it starts on this D, on the 7th fret of the 4th string, and there's also a D right here on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. If we move that down now, a set of strings, then we're playing the 5 chord. So if we're in the key of D, right here, and we move it down a set of strings, then we're playing an A, and that is the fifth chord. Okay, if we move it back 2 frets, that's 4, 4, 5. So if we're playing a D here, this is our 4th chord, this is our 5th chord. And it's the same way, I didn't show that on the G, but say we have a G, we move it up, this is the 4th chord. If we move that up 2 frets, it's the 5th chord. Alright? So the chords are the same, it's just a repeating pattern, based on the pattern. The chords follow that pattern. They're just notes in scale. Sometimes you'll see when I play, I just play 2 strings, like the double stop, so I just move these up, and I'm playing a double stop, the 4th, and I can move that up and play the 5th. Sometimes I'll play it like this, where I'm playing the 2nd fret on the 1st string, 5th fret on the 2nd string, and 4th fret on the 3rd string. And so you can do it that way, you can do it this way, you can do it this way, you can, any 2 notes in the G scale are valid, but that's that's the most common thing you'll see me doing, is playing out of that G shape, and then you usually just you usually just kind of keep that G shape, or if you're playing in the A shape, you'll keep that A shape. So A, I'm shifting up one set of strings, going forward 2 frets. That's the 5 chord, and back to the root. All right. So, so that's a kind of review. So let's work on the practice. This is the Sweetest Gift that we did the other day. So this is in G. And I'm just on that top string, on the 4th string. I've gone to the next string down the 3rd string, and that's the 5th fret. I can keep on going up that block. I put in that G chord. That's the 5th. Okay, so again, that was mostly just playing 1 notes, but occasionally I just accidentally throw in a double stops. But let's review the double stops again, some common double stops. So the G and the note right below it, and that's true with this G too. That's all G's. And the next one is 4-2 and 3-4. That is a D. And the next one is 4-4-3-5, which is another G, and then 4-5 and 3-2, and then 3rd string open, and the 2nd string set on 2nd, and then 3-2 and 2-3, 3-4 and 2-5, and 3-5 and 2-2. And you see those 2 notes, that's just the top part of that G shape right there. Okay? And there's a couple that I didn't show you last week. You could play 2 4-2 and 3 open, and 4-4 and 3 open, and you can play 4-7 and 3-5. Those are all kind of typical double stops. And after you get pretty good at the pattern, it gets pretty easy just to add those double stops in. The double stops are just pieces of the scale. They're notes within the scale. You're always just playing the notes in the scale. Occasionally you'll add other notes for interest or because I'm just showing you the major scale there, and we'll do the minor scale later. So those double stops, any 2 notes within the scale are valid, but you'll hear that some of them sound good while you're playing them, and some of them don't make sense. So if I put on. So I'm basing what I'm playing on the melody. And I'm just adding another note, whatever sounds appropriate. She's gone to heaven from heartache's grief. The parts around you could never change her. You were her baby. So there I'm playing the 2-5 and the 3-7, and then I'm keeping my first finger on the 2-5, and I'm pressing down on the 3-9 instead. And here I'm just playing the G shape. Which my finger is on C right now, so that's actually a C. But you'll learn to add those double stops. It's not that hard. The hard part is getting that pattern where you're good at it and you can move relatively easily through it, and then adding embellishments and double stops and slides. Hammer-ons and things like that. It's easy to add that to it as your fingers get loosened up and less confused. When you're first starting, your fingers are not going to want to cooperate necessarily, but they will learn, and your muscles will get used to doing what they're supposed to do. It takes a while to get the muscle control. That's really one of the hardest parts of the mandolin. It's not the knowledge, it's the physical control that you need to have to play it well. Okay, so we talked about, last week we talked about, that your fingers will get sore when you practice, and that's just normal. It's going to take 6 weeks or so to build up those fingertips, of playing an hour a day. That's what it took me, at least. And as you're playing you want to make sure that you stay relaxed. You don't want a lot of tension. If you're not getting great tone at first, don't worry too much about it. Your tone will develop. When you get those fingertips toughened up, you're probably going to notice that by that time you're starting to develop a nicer tone. But you want to be relaxed. Don't have tension in your hand. You don't need a tremendous amount of pressure. You know, what you do with your thumb, you know, I'm not going to say what the best position is. I just do whatever. I don't, you know, I think that as you develop, you practice speed, you gain speed, and in order to gain speed, you need efficiency. And so your hand is going to learn to move efficiently. And you know, when you get up to a high level of playing, then yes, technique might be more of a factor where you can improve your playing by changing your technique a little bit. I don't think that you need to worry about that at the beginning, though. It's more important to have fun. Okay. But as you're playing, you know, if your hands get tired, make sure you stop every once in a while and stretch them out, and stretch your arms and just relax. Don't get tension. You know, if you need to take a break, then take a break. Do a few songs and then take a break and do a few more. But like I said, you can start with the G, that G scale, but you soon need to be moving to adding different scales, and the D and the A are nice because they're the next closest ones. But so you need to start. You know, you can find some slow songs in G. You can find some slow songs in A and D, and then start doing them in different keys so that you don't just learn the G scale, you learn the pattern. Okay? But keep those fingers loose and don't tension up. Let's go back and do that some more. Listen how the G just fits all the way through that song. Do different things with your pick. You know, don't just go. I don't always do up and down, up and down, up and down. Sometimes I'm doing downstrokes and I'm not hitting an upstroke. So again, just like with with how you have your fret hand, I don't think you need to start off with any particular rule on the pick. Just whatever works for you is fine. And then just try to float, kind of not hit anything too hard, but you need to get your hand moving and hitting different strings. did last week. It's also in G. It's a bit faster. Okay, remember last week on that slap, we talked about that some. This is that G chop chord, and that is just a percussive sound. You just want to have a dull sound there. If you can't hit that top note without touching these strings below it, that's okay. It doesn't matter. You know, of course you can work on doing it cleanly, but if you can't get it right away, don't worry about it. Because sometimes I just sit there and will hit anything. It doesn't matter. Nobody in the audience can hear that you're not playing in key when you're doing a chop. Yes, technically it sounds a bit better to be playing the correct chord, but say this is the 1 chord, the key chord, and if I go up above it, it's hardly any difference, and nobody will notice that. So don't worry about being able to cover that G chord perfectly, and you can play the A as a chop chord. Any chord is a chop chord if you're just keeping your fingers loose on the strings just to dull them. Okay. Another kind of chord technique you could do is to press down on the strings, so you get that the tone, and then lift the finger pressure off of the frets so that it dulls out at the end. It doesn't just keep on ringing. And sometimes, a lot in bluegrass, you'll hear a boom chuck sound, which is so I'm just hitting the 4th string here, and this is an A shape that I'm doing, and the key and the chord is A. And you can do that with the G chop chord too. So that's a chop chord. And in the morning, find your daddy gone, when I'm gone, when I'm gone, long gone, long gone. You'll wake up and find your daddy gone. Won't be no need to worry, won't be no need to cry. My grip is back to travel, and I'm gonna say goodbye. Long gone, long gone, long gone, long gone. You'll wake up and find your daddy gone. And I'm just putting my hand anywhere. Okay, let's see what else we can find. let's see. How about this? How about another Dolly Parton song? So I don't know what key that is in. Just, I mean, I've done the song before, but I don't memorize, whatever key I do. So, yeah, that's another thing we can talk about is how to find the key that a song is in. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is find a note that fits. So, say we start listening to this. So I started off, down here, something like that, and then I tried a few different notes, and I could hear that this note right here blends in through the whole song. That's a D, so I know that the song is in D because D works through the whole song. So I can confirm that by using the pattern, and I know that that's a D, so I know that the string below it is also in the pattern. 2 below that, 2 below that. So if I play, and all of those work in the song, then that confirms that I'm in the right key, and I can try it down here. So again, this is a D right here, starting with the 4/7, the G shape, and if I move this down 1 string and back 2, then I'm on the 4 chord. If I move that up 2 frets and still on the bottom 3 strings, I'm at the 5th chord. And sometimes you'll see me, I'm using different fingers. Sometimes I'll do a full, kind of G shape. Sometimes I might just do those 2 strings. You just have to let the melody guide you as far as what double stops or when you're doing a chord. Let somebody else do it, right? So, you don't want to play it, you don't want to be playing a lot while somebody's singing. So you're just, you can sometimes hear the mandolin in the background. It's just like, it's real soft.
to smile with all my might, but you could see the pain within me.
You know, I guess I developed a bad habit because as I started out and I'm just kind of learning how to play, stay in shape and you know, learning what to play. I tend to play over the whole song. So I kind of got into that bad habit of just playing over the whole song, which is easy to do, you know, if you're just practicing. There's nothing wrong with it, but if I was playing, and I do play in a group, and so you can't just do that when you're playing with people. You can't just lead through the whole thing. You've got to play, you know, your rhythm parts, your background parts, and then just fill in at the appropriate places when there's a pause in the singing, if it's your turn to take a break, and so forth. And that's the main reason why you want to play with music, so that you can hear what other mandolin players do. You don't have to copy their feel, you know, their breaks or their fills exactly. And at first, it's very hard to tell where they're playing, what they're, you know, what exactly they're playing, unless you can find tabs on everything. And you know, finding tabs on every break is impossible, because you know, everything is just not written. But as you listen to music and you hear what you're playing compared to what the other mandolin players are playing, then you start to hear how you can copy them. You know, but a lot of it is skill. Even if you learn some of these breaks that they're doing, or these little fills, they might just be doing them so much faster than you could possibly do them. Like I said last time, you can find a lot of mandolin breaks, mandolin licks, you know, they're called. The problem I had is that I could learn a lick if it was even fast enough to actually do it. But I could learn it and then not find an appropriate spot to put it into an actual song, you know, so they'll just be playing some chords, and you know, maybe they'll record themselves playing, you know, some guitar chords, and then they'll record themselves putting some licks on top of it. But putting that into an actual song is a little bit more difficult. Instead of doing long licks, I think of it more as lots of little phrases. Say, instead of licks, they're just maybe a beat or two, and then you can combine those things. And there's some little easy fills to do, and we'll talk about little common breaks. That's a common one. So that's 2-5, 2-2, 2 open, 3-4, 3 open. And you know, that's a very common ending of a song. And that's in the D scale there. So, and we'll talk about more about how to, you know, common little phrases to put in, but but don't worry about them because you develop that naturally as you get used to your fingers moving and you start adding little slides and things, ornamentation. Another thing I want to say is that as you're learning, you're going to put your finger in the wrong place a lot of times, accidentally hit the wrong note, you forget where your pattern is at. The great thing there is that the next right note is only a fret away. So if you are playing, right here in D, and you accidentally press that string, that's not a D. You can see it doesn't blend in with the D. Just slide real fast. Slide up to the next fret, and then you're playing D, and you're just adding some color. Nobody's gonna know. You're just adding a little slide, or you can go down. So the correct note is always just one fret away. Slide into it real fast if you've missed one, and you're back into the pattern. And after a while, you'll get used to. If you get yourself off and start playing, play a wrong note or two or three wrong notes, you'll be able to slide back into that pattern and reestablish your reference point. Okay. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about? Well, let's just do another song. Let's find. Oh, here's a good song. I like Carl Jackson. Let's see what that's in. So again, just try to find some songs in G. Maybe find some, once you've done the G a bit, find some songs in A, find some songs in D, and then just keep on adding more scales. And pretty soon you'll know that pattern. and you'll be able to start adding more stuff to it. So that's good for now. Hopefully this is an improvement over last week. So we'll see y'all later. Thanks.